to listen to the Lap Traffic Podcast.
What is up, Lap Traffic Nation? Welcome to episode 293 of the Lap Traffic Podcast. I'm your host, the Professor, Brandon Crowd. Countdown to episode 300 is still going on. 7 more shows to go. And I've got some info and some things to do for episode 300 and the countdown. And I will get into that here in just a little bit once I get the guest on tonight, because he's going to be hanging around for the whole show, which is cool. Haven't done that in a minute. So looking forward to that. Hope you all had a fantastic couple of weeks. Life has been crazy busy over here. Work has just been brutal. If you've paid attention to the rates and the Fed hikes and all that, and if you've listened a minute, you know I work in the mortgage industry, and things aren't the funnest, if that's a word, if I can use, in the mortgage industry right now. And I'm not even on the sales side of things, and it's rough out there. So we'll just keep plugging along. Last week had an unexpected funeral, which is why there wasn't a show last week. But hey, we're able to turn things around a little bit, have a good time this past weekend. Took Alden to the cider mill, which was just flipping adorable. Sunday, Brad Yunker came up. We grabbed a quick 9 holes of golf. What else did we do? We went and grabbed some drinks. We went and suffered through the first half of the Lions game, and then grabbed a couple more drinks and took an Uber home. And then this weekend, I'm very excited, heading to Philly Friday for the one-man show of The Undertaker and WWE Extreme Rules. My cousin and I are getting out of Dodge for a couple days. Couldn't come at a better time, to be honest with you. Very much needed. So looking forward to that. Can't wait to have an update on those shenanigans for you guys next week. Let's see what's coming up tonight. Well, the doctor, Aaron Studwell, is going to be on the show here in just a second. I'll get him on in just a minute. We're going to talk all kinds of things. We've got to talk about the rest of the countdown to episode 300. We've got some college football that we'll throw in the mix early since he's going to be on. We've got hats to talk about. We've got weights and fish to talk about. So much going on. Oh, and of course, we'll talk a little NASCAR along the way. So, without any further ado, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line, making his 12th appearance as a guest on the show outside of the weather segments. He needs no introduction. My good friend and yours, welcome back to the show, Dr. Aaron Studwell. Sir, good evening. How are you?
Good evening, sir. I'm doing well. And yourself?
I'm great, thank you. I didn't realize it had been a minute since you've actually been a quote unquote guest of the show. So welcome back from that regard.
Thank you. I guess I just I would never take this for granted, so I'm not going to use that phrase. I guess I just never. How many times? Okay, where does that rank me on guests?
On guests, great question. Let me pull that up. Let me kill time here for a quick.
I would imagine
second.
That would be behind Mr. Striegel.
Yes, you're behind Striegel. You're behind Sherwin of the PETM podcast.
That makes sense.
You are behind the Orange Cone.
That makes sense.
And
he was almost a regular. He was almost like me for a while.
Yeah. It still kind of is. Then there is Dustin Albino at 14. And then you with 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're top five.
Okay, that works.
Yes.
You know what? And for as much as I talk, it will just feel like it'll vault me to number 1.
Right. Yes. Jeff Striegel's number 1 with 23 appearances on the show.
Wow.
I've taken
great.
full advantage of Jeff. Oh,
and here he doesn't even have you on his Facebook page.
No, not at all. And he will definitely be in the mix as we get closer to 300. You'll be in the mix. Newdorf will be in the mix. You know, all the regulars that have helped the show and the support and all that. So here's what a segue. So here's what I'm going to do, and I kind of teased this a couple weeks ago, but I've decided to officially make it official. Is that for the rest of the season, there will be some guests, but they might just be sprinkled in for a few minutes here or there. But I am dedicating the last lucky 7 shows to lucky 300 to all the listeners and the followers. So if you would like to be a part of the show in any capacity between now and episode 300, shoot me a message. I am going to be reaching out to some people personally, whether they've been a longtime follower, they interact, they've been on the show before, whatever the case may be. But for the next 7 shows, come on the show. If you just want to say hi and tell me about your dog, great. You want to talk NASCAR, we'll talk NASCAR. You want to talk wrestling, whatever you want to talk about, it's because of you guys that, we're even talking about episode 300. So I definitely have some giveaways and all of that lined up still. I know things have kind of fallen off the rail here the last week or two, but we are going to go strong for these last 7 episodes. I think the final episode is going to be a condensed Lucky Dog recap, a very condensed award show thing, as well as some of the key people that have been involved over the last what will be 300 episodes. So if you, like I said, you want to come on, shoot me a DM, tweet at me, email. Anybody that wants to get a hold of me will know how to figure out a way to get a hold of me if you want to be on the show. So to you guys for the last 7 shows, what do you think about that there, sir?
Oh, I like it. I'm already writing down ideas for you too. Even just to call in and say, give you just a little drop sound to say, "Hey, congratulations."
Yes, anything, whatever. Yes, whatever you want to do, we will make it happen. So, like I said, we'll have some giveaways. I've obviously got the stickers, koozies. That's just part of the routine. If you want them, I'll send them to you. I've got a fresh shipment of T-shirts in. I've got some mugs, and if you've been paying attention over the weekend, I've got some awesome trucker hats, multiple color options. Huge shout out to Travis over at the Throwback brand. They did amazing work with the patches, the stitching, the color. They are so badass. So those are going to be part of the giveaway. Those are also going to be available for purchase on a first come, first serve basis. If anybody wants one, $25, that includes shipping in the lower 48. I will send some out to you. So I'm keeping some. I've got about, I think, 25 hats, so if you want one, let me know. I will get one out to you, and I will obviously be keeping some. And if demand is high, Travis is prepared to make some more. So if you want a hat, guaranteed you want a hat, not just from a giveaway. Again, hit me up, let me know, and we'll get a hat out. I think 25 is pretty reasonable, especially including shipping there. So, that'll put a couple bucks towards trophies, whatever, all that good stuff. So there's hats available. And all right, that's enough self-promotions and self-plugging of stuff there. I'd be remiss if I didn't play the Michigan theme song, the Victors, man. I mean, what a game this past weekend.
I like a hat.
You like a hat? I think we can get you a hat. I think if you've been a part of the show for 6 years, that entitles you to a hat. So
there we go. For every 6 years, you get a hat, or you can hold onto your points and collect something on the top shelf.
Yes. At the 10-year mark, there is. Let's see. I couldn't even come up with something off the cuff.
No, because we don't know what things are going to be like in 2026.
That's true.
Wow. Although we're going to jump ahead a little bit. This Michigan State will still be Michigan State.
Oh my God, man, rough. Like, they went big on the coach, right? They threw him a lot of money after 1 year, and I don't know, man. He if he don't win another game, he ain't going to be there till at the end of the year.
No, I guess they didn't hear once you have that easy preseason conference or preseason schedule.
Yeah.
When you play in your conference matchups, you're kind of supposed to step up your game.
Just a smidge. It is a encouraging thing to do. So, it's funny. I was talking with Junker while we were golfing on Sunday, and I said, I wonder if these quote unquote cupcake games will be a thing of the past once the conference expansions happen. You'd think they'd almost have to be to some degree.
Yeah, but you're also going to see these non-power, what do they call them? The other five, not the Power Five, but the Fab Five.
Yeah,
we'll call them the Fab
those
Five.
guys. They're going to call a timeout when they don't have one.
Yes. Wow. Tough crowd today. I see how this day's going. I don't think so. I mean, you do have you look at Michigan's schedule coming up, you do have some solid non-conference games. I think they're playing Texas in 24. They're playing Oklahoma in 25. But here's the thing, and they're supposed to play Arkansas this year. Yep. And I think we talked about this a couple shows ago. But that game was put in place when Jeff Long was the athletic director at Arkansas, and Jeff was graduate assistant in Michigan football when I was there. So it was doing a friend a favor.
Sure.
Hey, we'll play you guys.
Yeah.
And I think, there's some pressure from the state legislature that you play at directional Michigan once a year.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
And so they're going to kind of look at that aspect of it. You probably want to keep some of the money in state. But, yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how they divide up the conference game requirements. If they're going to – I can't see them making it 10. When you have you're not going to be able to. You're going to maybe play everybody in your division once, and then some, like a rivalry game as needed, and a couple of other people from the other conference, right. Other division, I should say.
Well, so that's the thing. Like, you look at the Big Ten, the division's going to have to get shaken up a little bit. Like, you're not going to be able to have Michigan, Michigan State, and Ohio State in the same conference anymore, I don't think. And at that point, it's like, well, do you guarantee your in-state rival and the longest rival in college football? I think you have to play Ohio State.
I don't see an argument for making them not in the same division, because these things cycle it. I mean, you look 5-6 years ago, Michigan was 5-7.
Yeah,
and we were bad for a run. Ohio State hasn't been bad for decades.
No.
But Michigan State's having a downturn this year. But 8-9 years ago, they're in the BCS or whatever it was called then.
Yeah. No, they were. I mean, they Michigan State got to the Final Four before Michigan did. So that should tell you something right there.
I don't see a need to say that you have to not do it geographically, because you have, if Rutgers and Maryland are going to stay in, then you throw Penn State there. You take the 3 schools we've already named, then you pick Indiana and Purdue, and there's your 8. And then anybody west of the Illinois-Indiana line, you're west.
That's your west. Yeah, that would work. I guess the thing is you're if you go on history, you're going to not have an even conference. We've seen that the last few years. Wisconsin's been able to run away with it, and they could have ran away with it with a 8-4 record. And then you come over to our conference and you basically, have to go undefeated to guarantee yourself a Big Ten championship appearance.
Right. And then, but even if you don't, and then they win, it's usually the number 2 team from the East going to the Rose Bowl, as long as it's not a CFP Bowl.
Yes. Well, and I do like the expansion on that. I think that's way overdue. If you can't expect the excitement behind the bowl games anymore, because it's just not there. No one cares, and I know we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but it is.
You're just going to hang on to your wrong opinion. You can keep going.
Well, all right, that's fair. I'll divert from that and go. Let's
talk Michigan. Hey, let's talk Michigan football.
Yes, let's talk Michigan football. We are 5-0, and the one game that I was a little hesitant on this past weekend, going to Iowa, a tough place to play, after putting a spanking on the Hawkeyes in the Big Ten championship game. We went in and got business done, which after a very scary home game against Maryland, they definitely improved.
They did. And honestly, I know the line, the last I saw the line of the Iowa game was 10.5. So I'm glad for those who partake, that last touchdown that the second and third stringers gave up was not in play.
Yes.
Although
Yes,
I'm not
sir.
sure what the over-under was. Do you know?
Definitely under. I know.
Okay.
That. It was the under definitely. I would imagine it would have been around 50 some. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, Michigan looks good when they're focused. They're a solid number 4 team of the nation, but it's worrisome that when they aren't focused, they're not good, particularly on defense. And I think that's reflective. And boy, I hate to throw the coach. It's hard to throw the coaches under the bus when you're 5-0.
Sure.
But you're probably going to play tougher opponents soon. You've got a Michigan goes back to where you got to going back to a Michigan State that even if they're going to play Ohio State this week, so 2-4. And do they have a game before Michigan?
Let
I would
see here.
say yes.
I would imagine, because I know
So-
we have our bye week is after Penn State, which I want to
Right.
get to them in a minute here. But Michigan State, yes, they play Ohio State, then Wisconsin, then Michigan. No, we both have bye weeks the same week.
Okay, so they could legitimately come into that game 2-5
Yes.
and play like they have everything to win and nothing to lose. And we've seen this scenario before. Do I think Michigan's going to lose? No.
But
Do I feel really confident about it?
I mean, no.
No.
I mean, that's the thing, because that's the bum. Well, not bummer, but that's the thing. At that point, that's all they are playing for is to
Right.
wreck Michigan's season. And so, yeah, they're not going to care about injury. You know, they're going for broke at that point,
Oh.
because at least they can then say, hey, at least we beat Michigan. So.
So they're going to be like the Dolphins, not care about injuries. Ooh, too soon?
Wow. And my Fed 5 joke. Wow. I mean, you just kicked that one up a notch there. That's
Yeah, I know,
that's for sure.
I know, but that was awful.
That was so
we can talk
bad.
NFL. We can talk NFL in a few, but yeah,
Yes.
that was awful. One thing I do want to add about Ohio State coming out of these past couple weekends,
Yes.
they're the only legit top 3 team I see, playoff team I see out there.
Yes. I agree with you there. You know, they're getting votes for
Michigan's
it too.
4. Well, Michigan's 4, and yeah, okay, I want to put them aside. They're 4.
Mhm.
They're 4. I don't even know who 5 is. It's probably USC. But yeah, Alabama at Texas, that was not good, especially with Texas having a second string quarterback.
Yep.
And then Georgia going to Columbia. Man, that winning by 3 late.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. I will tell you, I'm a little concerned. Well, I guess I'm not concerned. I'm curious about Penn State. I don't know how good of a team Penn State is, and that's my question. You know, you barely beat Purdue by a field goal opening weekend. You beat Ohio, Auburn, and Central Michigan handily. You should have. Anybody in the conference should have. And then you struggle against Northwestern and only win by 10. So yeah, I'm curious. And now here's the thing: they're on their bye week this week, Penn State. So they got a week off before they have to come to the big house. That game's got me a little on edge. Not gonna lie. But I mean, you look at the spread's not out on it yet, but. I mean, you look at the ESPN predictor, and that's got Michigan favored by 71% right now. So,
Yeah, and I would say that's going to be close. I'd say it opens at probably like 8.5. Depends on how Michigan comes out of this game against Indiana, no injuries, and how they look. I'd say it opened at 8.5. But I don't know what to make. The only time I've really sat down and watched them this year was against Auburn. And I thought they looked good, but yeah, they haven't been tested yet. And when they have been, the teams that have tested them aren't that good. I mean, you got a Northwestern who, you're used to them being closer to the top than they usually are, but then they go to lose. I think they lost to Duke at home. But yeah, I don't know what to make of Penn State. I know they have talent, and I know they've beaten the teams same like with Michigan last year. They've beaten the teams they've had to beat.
Yes.
Do they just, so they did what they need to be 5-0. Now, last I saw, they're only 22 in the nation, I believe.
Right. Yes. No, Penn State's 10th.
They jumped. Okay.
Yeah,
I must have been looking at something else.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm not feeling like I'm buying them.
All right.
I'm not saying they're pretenders, but yeah, I'm not. Well, they may be the worst 5-0 team out there.
Fair enough. All right. Let's wrap our college football talk with this. You and I did our preseason pick'ems as we do, and we both had Michigan going into the Ohio State game undefeated and losing to Ohio State. Would you like to make any changes to your predictions almost halfway through the season?
And it's crazy it is halfway through the season. No, I'm good where I'm at. Thank you. How about you?
I am perfect with where I'm at. Perfect with it. So I'm curious if Michigan can stay like this. It will be, I'm going to use an old wrestling term from good old JR. It'll be a slobber knocker if both teams are undefeated going into the shoe. I think it'll be decided by 3 points. So, and I think it'll go either way. Could go either way.
I agree with you on that. And it's a shame that one of these two teams, I don't know. You don't know how things are going to play out, because we always get to this point where we're talking about the college football playoffs and the rankings and looking at this and looking at that. And then 2 weeks before the conference championship games, and we're after sitting here at the conference championship games, and what in the world happened over the last 2 weeks? And you just kind of say, you could actually, this may be like the SEC was at one point, where you could have two Big Ten teams in making the college football playoffs.
Yes.
Legitimately.
Yep.
If something happens to Georgia or Alabama, they get a loss and then they lose again in the SEC championship game.
How many weeks in before the CFP rankings come out?
I want to say we have 2 more weeks. It'll be 2 weeks from, if you're releasing Monday, it'll be 2 weeks from tonight.
Assuming the top 5 who are undefeated and 5-0, do you see any shakeups, or do you think the CFP will come out with the same top 4: Alabama, Georgia, OSU, Michigan? Do you think OSU would maybe jump up to number 2 potentially?
I could see them in a different order. I see those top 4 teams there, but I'd see them in a different order.
Okay.
I honestly, because I would probably, this goes to what I was just saying, I would probably put Ohio State 1 or 2, Alabama 2 or 1, then Georgia, than Michigan.
I could see that. I think just out of what do you want to call it? The home field advantage, or the members bounce, if you will, whatever analogy. I think they'll keep Alabama at 1 just because of history. Just kind of like, you know, everyone will say Michigan gets favorable preseason rankings because they're Michigan. I think Alabama will inevitably be number 1, barring any crazy upset over the next 2 weeks or whatever.
Right. So, and then you know what? That's fine. They can go in and they play number 4, and then they get a playoff. That's why the system is the way they've made it, and it's better than it was. It's not as good as it's going to be.
I love it. All right. NFL, we'll go quick here. The Lions, man.
You actually got off the roller coaster. It's like you guys went around the roller coaster, went to when it like stops at the tippy top, and then you got off.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then it went down the thing, around the loop, and all the way into the station, and everybody vomited as they were walking out of Ford Field.
Yeah. I mean, not if you're used to it, you're not. Which that's the sad thing. Like, I literally just saw a thing. The Lions have scored the most points out of all 32 NFL teams.
Yeah. You want the other side of other side of that equation?
Well,
Yes.
they've given up the most. So, like, when you score
by 26.
Yeah, see, you score 30 points a game in an NFL game. 99, well, maybe not 90. Let's call it 95 out of 100 times. Yeah. You're putting a win in the win column.
Yep.
But not.
No,
not our Detroit Lions. No. No, they are
not
good.
So fast, my friend.
No, they are good for a 1-3 record. But here's the crazy, and this is what makes it true Lions fashion for me, is that all three losses, 35-38, field goal, 28-24, 4 points there, 45-48. We have lost 3 games for 10 points. And we couldn't make a freaking PAT to save our... How do you miss 3 PATs? That at least ties the game, sends it to overtime, and gives you a shot at it. Like, that's the Lions. That's how you are the Lions. You lose games.
This is how you're the Lions.
PATs.
The one game you win is by 9.
Right.
So you have a point differential of -1.
Right.
And yet you're sitting there at 1-3. I do have to thank Mr. Hawkinson and Jared Goff, although I didn't start him, for such a wonderful outing yesterday.
So I'm losing a game. I'm losing one of my leagues because I have Goff on the bench and played against Hawkinson. So
I started Allen over Goff, which was there's no way you were going to tell me to do anything else.
Right? Yeah. No.
My biggest mistake this weekend was not waking up to see that Kamara was out.
Oh, that'll get you.
I'm still winning. I got a 70% chance of winning. And the other thing, and I was telling my son this last night, I have to have more faith in Olave, no matter who's the quarterback there.
Yeah.
Whether it's Winston or Dalton, you're going to say this guy's going to catch the ball.
Well, here's how I want to wrap this. So, we talked. I made my 2 bets. I took the Michigan plus 9.5. That was a no-brainer for me.
Nice work.
I went greedy. I bought into the Honolulu Blue hype, and I took the Lions at plus 6.5.
Oh, okay.
All right. Yeah. Now we got our 1 win. Okay. Now we're going to Foxborough. The Patriots are horrible, but we're going to lose to the Patriots. Then we go to the Cowboys. We're going to lose to the Cowboys. So that's going to put us 1-5. So that's about the time the Lions decide to start to win meaningless games. So then we're going to play the Dolphins, which is a win.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. It depends who's the quarterback. Which goes to my earlier bad joke.
Yes,
go on.
It does. Okay. Then we play the Packers at home, which to me, that's an exact replica of Michigan State, Michigan. The Lions aren't going to have anything other to play for than to ruin the Packers season. So I say there's a chance they beat the Packers. But even if they don't, that's fine. I want to stop you right there real quick. Yes.
Read an article today. The Packers should be glad the Giants exist because that would make them not the most mediocre 3-1 team out
there. See? So there's a shot there. We're at the Bears. Fine. I think we go to the Giants. We beat the Giants.
Agreed.
We still lose to the Bills. Then we've got the Jaguars at home, which is a win.
Yep.
Then we've got the Vikings at home, which is a potential win.
I'd say it's a coin toss, yeah.
Yeah, we're at the Jets, at the Panthers. They split there. So there's still the potential of me still getting 7 wins this year. At least that's what I'm letting myself.
I honestly think they actually have a pretty good chance of winning both the Jets and the Panthers game the way Baker's playing.
Right? If they can just get their let's put it this way too. If Swift is back, I think we're talking about a different Seattle game. I think the Lions win that game if we had Swift.
Yes.
So it's just there's still some potentials. They're obviously, I don't see them making the playoffs, but they are a 500 team, I feel like. So I just need them,
which is a really hell of a turnaround from where
they won 3 games
from.
last year.
Yeah, and I mean, even starting at 1-3 now.
Yes, oh, good times. All right. Before we get to NASCAR talk,
okay, I want to say this real quick. I have my show sheet here. You have Philly. I'm like, why does he want to talk about the Eagles? I didn't know you were going there for WWE.
Yes, so I covered that in the
Yes,
open
you did.
there,
I'm like, why does he want to talk about the Eagles?
Yeah.
Yes, let's talk fish.
Yes, let's talk fish. Okay, I will not pretend that I know a single thing about fishing competitions. But
nope, me either.
I've casted my fair share of lines here and there. I can put a lure on. I can string a pole.
So you were quite alluring. Is that what you're telling me?
That I know it's wrong to put weights in things. And I know that from a racing perspective. So who in the world would have thought that there's a correlation between weights in a fish and weights in a car? And I think we can make that analogy.
I think that makes this a tremendous segue to NASCAR when we get there.
God, I know, right? See, so,
I do want to start this by saying, can I note this wasn't Ohio?
You might piss a few people off, but that's okay.
That's okay. Kind of my goal every day.
So here's my thing. Again, I don't know what the average unit number of fish caught in a particular competition is. Does 7 to 8 fish win based on weight? Does 10 to 12? I don't know what that average would be. But when I saw the group of fish that they had, it didn't look like they had that many. So to sneak 8 pounds in, that's seeable by the naked eye. How do you have 6 fish and they're coming in at X weight? To me, I don't think they didn't proportionate it enough to be able to sneak it through the naked eye test is where they jacked up, in my opinion, on that one. Again,
they're juicing fish,
right?
Don't try this with a blender, really.
Like that. I mean, and that just the reaction of the guy and that caught it. And then the guy just standing there, just taking his lashings. I watched it 900 times. I'm like, did they really do, what the hell?
See, I want to flip this whole equation on you here. I'm going to say I haven't fished since I was 18.
Okay. So it's been a minute.
I don't. Yeah. But I do know from the sports side of the business, there's actually pretty decent money in fishing tournaments.
Well, yeah, they said these guys have won $300,000 this year already.
This was a $30,000 prize.
Yeah.
And I'm going to bring it back to your NASCAR analogy. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
I agree with that. But also, though, when we're talking about cheating in NASCAR, it's not visible to the naked eye. And this, it's you got 6 fish that should weigh X, and you're going to tell me they weigh this? No.
Yeah, it goes back to college football. What's the eye test?
Yeah, exactly.
Does this meet the eye test? They have failed the eye test.
That's what I'm saying. They didn't, they probably banked on catching 4 more to distribute it out a little bit more equally, and they just...
Well, they felt the weights in the stomach of one, and then they stuffed another one with fillets of the same kind of fish.
I'm telling
you. Really?
That's... I mean, creativity, you get an A, but...
Yeah. Honestly, you kind of get a B for execution.
Right, yeah, no, they failed miserably there.
Yeah, it's they did it well, but did they think it through?
No, definitely not. No. I was like, hey, Bubba, what do you think? Yeah, we can get her done. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the headline and I'm like, Oh, I would say this was Florida, except Florida just went through a lot. Probably
They did.
didn't have many fishing tournaments.
Yes.
So then it's like Ohio. Yeah, I can see that.
I am going to chalk this up as a first because never in my 293 shows did I ever think I'd be talking about and making a legitimate analogy between cheating in NASCAR and cheating in a fishing competition.
And it's a legit. It's like, a legit. Honestly, it's a legit analogy. It is so freaking legit and solid.
Yeah.
I am proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So, all right. I am going to hit the stop button here. You guys will know no difference because the professor needs a refill here. So we'll be back in less than a second because you won't know the difference. All right. And we're back. Like I said, you wouldn't know the difference. All right. Hopefully you guys are still with us here 35 minutes in with just starting the NASCAR talk, but we had some fun there. Hopefully you enjoyed that. All right, sir. Let's start with the truck series. We've got a couple things I want to highlight here. The first is Jordan Anderson. And we've all, anyone that's been a fan a minute has seen some scary wrecks, whether that's NASCAR, whether that's at your local track. I mean, it's an inevitability. Yeah. You're going to see them. I've never seen anything like that to where he made a calculated risk of starting to get out of the car before it came to a stop. That's how hot it was getting in there. And if that truck hits the wall at any other different angle, he's getting smashed potentially in half. I have never seen anything like that before.
The closest thing I've seen to that, but the car had already stopped, was when Roman Grosjean had his car break in half. He was carried away in the tub, essentially the where the body fits into the car, and he was engulfed in fire.
Yeah.
That was the closest I've ever seen to that. But when Jordan started trying to get himself out while it's still moving, I just didn't even exhale.
No.
And unfortunately, I hate to say it this way, I have watched that several times, and I just absolutely freaking blessed that he's still with us. And that could have been, oh my God, tragic horrible for the sport.
Absolutely.
And they're two different things, but this is really highlighting a new safety issue. And I know we're going to talk about this when we get to Cup, but stuff like this shouldn't happen.
No, I watched it 100 times just because I'm like, no, that's not his head trying to get out. No, there's no way.
Yeah.
That's not.
Yeah.
That's his hand trying to undo the safety net. And because I couldn't believe that that's how bad it was, to where that was the risk he was willing to absorb, was like, I don't care that this car's not at a stop. I have to start getting out of here. And trying to probably hit the brake and, slow it down even more.
Unhook your Hans.
Yes.
Unhook your helmet, your communications, get that net down and get that. And you're doing
There's
this
a lot you got to do. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is all split second. And you're making a decision that there's a better chance I'm going to die in the truck than dying getting out of the truck.
Yep. Man. Wow. I have never seen anything like that. I am, like you said, so thankful that we're talking about a positive outcome to that situation. So, crazy. Anything else for that? I don't even know.
I don't think there's, and man, I don't want to have people just going to go gawk and look, but if any listeners have not seen this yet, because I actually missed the truck race on Saturday, but I caught it on FS1 later on. It's unfortunate accident, but I think it's one that it highlights a problem, but it also highlights how far we've come.
Yes. Well, I agree with you there. And I'm with you on the gawking thing. Like if I didn't see it live, I wouldn't have been able to go and watch it. Like when someone, like if there's like an NBA game where like someone like completely like breaks an ankle or whatever and things are bent like the other way, like they're not supposed to be. I can't go and watch or hear that. I can't stomach it. But since I saw it, I was able to go back and rewatch it because, like I said, I just couldn't my mind couldn't wrap my head around the fact that that definitely was his head starting to come out as he crashed into the wall like that. Couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it.
And for me, it's somebody I've talked to. It's somebody I've wanted to work with, and we've worked on collaborating towards things. That it's not just a driver, but this is somebody I've shaken his hand. We've had our conflicts, but we've also gotten back to a better point where we're willing to work together. And he's not a friend, but he's much more than a driver, just a random driver in the garage.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Yep. Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. All right. Matty D picking up the win at Talladega. First career NASCAR win. Definitely has had his shots in the Cup car. A couple second place finishes, almost closed it out. Just never was able to quite get the job done. Cup side of things. Goes to a truck team that struggled last year, has struggled this year, couldn't make the playoffs, picks up a win at Talladega. What's this do from a Rackley perspective? Does this catapult them a little bit? Is this does it do anything?
To me, I think it does. I just think it does something. And it's funny. This was a year ago today. I think it kind of elevates the team some because, a year ago this weekend was the Brandon Brown win at Talladega, and what that's done for the 68 and for Brandon Brown Motorsports. I think it puts them a little bit more on the map. I think from a sponsorship standpoint, Matt's, I've never met him. I understand he's a great guy, but he can be hard to work with at times. And that's from a friend of his.
Sure.
But
yeah.
But I'm sure I've got friends of mine who will say the exact same thing about me.
Yeah.
But I think it helps. I think it can't be a negative for the team. That is just going to be absolute positive for them. It's a shot in the arm, confidence boost too. And I think it does more for Rackley War than it does necessarily for Matt's career.
Sure.
I'm not sure that puts him back in a Cup car anytime soon, maybe for a few select races next year that'll be able to get the money. I think it definitely puts Rackley Ware up into a mid-pack. I think it's probably the shot in the arm they needed. They've been slowly improving through the year as well. And I think it's really kind of hey, we have a new driver here. Hey, we're trying to be more. And I think they just got there. I think it's a positive. I think it's definitely a positive for everybody involved. And I think it's going to be a positive for saying, hey, we have a winning truck. And it's easier to sell that from a sponsorship standpoint.
Well, and that's key. And once
he's got a lot of fans.
Well,
he's got a lot of fans.
He does have a lot of fans. I know he's done. I mean, I'm a Matty D fan. I love Matty D.
I do too.
He hasn't been on the show in a minute, but he has been on a handful of times. He's always been great to talk to, and I've always been a rooter of his. I know he probably lost some fans with some things that he's done, but the fans that lost, he also probably gained on the flip side of things. So I think Matty D still has a lot of fan support out there, and I think he's a good driver. To be honest, I think he is a Landon Castle type, right?
That's the analogy I was going to make too. So
Landon's been around a long time, and unfortunately, Landon has been in some great equipment. And from the, if we're going to talk naked eye tests like we did with fishing a few minutes ago, you look at what Landon Castle has been able to accomplish in equipment and with teams and cars that another driver's been put in and can't go and get that from. If Landon Castle's in a 30th place car, Landon Castle might be able to go get you a 20th or 25th. And to your casual fan, they might say, oh, this is just a 20, they're going to look at it at the driver, not the overall business perspective of things, if you will. And,
agreed.
I think Matty D's the same thing, he's able to get more out of the car than what the car is able to produce sometimes, I think. And, if you know the sport, and if you know what money does, and if you know the teams, you can recognize that. Oh, hey, Matty D got a 20th place finish at a non-road course or at a non-plate track. Like, Matty D got a 20th place finish in the 34 at Michigan. Oh, that's a big deal, and
right.
That showcases the driver talent. And it's the same thing with Landon. And now, granted, Landon missed the playoffs by a hair in the Xfinity series. Landon now has, 3 second place finishes?
Yeah.
To where, that's a tribute to, now you've got the driver talent and the equipment being able to go out there and run for top 10s, top 15s. And I expect Landon to be running for a hell of a lot more top 5s and top 10s next year.
Right. And a good example for Landon was the Cup race. I mean, you look at the 77, and I know Spire is putting a lot of resources in there, but there's almost an argument they probably put more resources in the 7 than the 77.
Sure.
I don't know that for a fact, but you look at it. Well, sometimes if they're both running in the 20s, they're almost like side by side. But sometimes it's Corey getting a 20th place car, a 25th place car up into the top 10. Landon did the same thing this weekend with the 77, finishing 11th and really finishing well in that front pack in the Cup race.
Yep. Yeah. No, he got it done, which is awesome, and those are the things that, that those are fun things to root for. When you've got Landon Castle getting an 11th place finish in a Cup car, when you've got Landon Castle finishing 3rd in the Xfinity. I mean, that's a hell of a weekend for Landon Castle, a 3rd place finish and an 11th place finish. I am also a Jeremy Clements fan. I love what he's been able to do with that family owned organization as well.
Yeah.
It's a bummer that, they had that mechanical failure or whatever it was, the first race, that just kind of set them back. But on the flip side, and I don't mean this to sound because it's going to be
we had this conversation 2-3 weeks ago. I know it's coming.
I mean, you guys very well could have, just based on the finishes, I think you guys would have been able to make it through to the next round, which is a bummer on that side of things, So, I mean, I hate to have to bring that up, but at least that's...
No, it's legit, and it's great for Jeremy too. So I'm like looking at the standings here now. Yeah, he's sitting. No, he's like 40 something below the cut line.
I mean, but
now,
hey, he could go into the Roval and win. Stranger
oh, that's
things
true.
have happened.
No.
So
yes. Oh, I'm definitely not counting him out.
Yeah,
and you can't. You look at the 4 below the cut line. It's Hemrick, Herbst, Jones, and Clements. It's
right.
Really you got 4 solid drivers down in there for the extent of the
You've
playoffs.
got your defending champion that is outside the cut line, so. And speaking of Xfinity, who knew Noah Gragson didn't know how to find victory lane? Like, I mean, that's just crazy.
It was good to see AJ up there. They've, Kaulig has been so solid this year everywhere they go. And then AJ is going to be a 40-year-old champion, Xfinity champion, where names are made. It's just been a phenomenal season for him. And have you noticed, and I wonder if this has gotten in everybody's contracts, how everything is now Xfinity fast? Every time you talk to an Xfinity driver, they are plugging Xfinity. And I get it, but wow, stop smacking me in the head with it.
Interesting. No, I haven't noticed that. I will. I'll have to pick
you will
that
now
up. I will now. Yes. I love the post race where AJ still said he hates plate racing, and I loved Landon and I'm drawing a blank coming
Hemrick
out onto the track. I mean, you want to talk about a team. I mean, that's a team concept organization. I mean, I'll tell you what, I didn't see Larson. I didn't see Byron, out there on the track hugging Chase Elliott. I mean, that is a team mentality there, and I love that aspect of it.
Well, I think that's something Matt Collick and Chris Rice really foster there too. So
Yes.
I really do. And it's not saying they don't at Hendrick, but it's really, I think Hendrick is still, I know they used to be, they seem pretty compartmentalized.
Yes. Well, it was always the 24 and 48 garage and the
everybody else.
Everybody else. Yeah. It's called the ace of the spade that it is, right?
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Speaking of Cup. All right. So Chase wins. It took 5 playoff races to get our first active playoff driver into victory lane. And who would have thought it would have been Talladega, the wild card, to where anybody had a shot at winning. Granted, Reddick won and made the playoffs, but he won after he was eliminated. Right. So I love that anomaly. I know Riddick doesn't, because then that would have guaranteed him a spot to the next round. But right. I mean, you look at the I don't even know what to call it, right? I mean, who would have thought you would have had such a diverse field to where over half your field makes the playoffs and none of them could pick up a win in at least, we can call it for sure, the first round. No playoff driver, none of the top 16 won in the first round. Like, that's absurd and crazy to me.
Well, we can call it parity. We can call it the next gen car. Because everybody's coming out with the same equipment, and now it's just, now it's a driver thing.
Yes.
Death traps that they are.
I don't think we're talking about this next year, which is a bummer. I don't think we're going to be talking a year from now about the potential of 5 non-playoff drivers winning the first 5 playoff races.
I think it's statistically unlikely. Right. I think it's great. I think it's great for the sport.
Yes.
I think it's great to see, and it's great to have that those people up there winning, and just new faces in there, and I think it's great for the sport. But yeah, I could see next year not having to get to your 5th race before you have a playoff driver win.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. All right, let's see here. Let's talk about the non-elephant but elephant in the room with regards to the car safety. Drivers again going off on social media this week about it. We now have Alex Bowman, a playoff driver, missing a race. We've got Kurt Busch that's been out for a considerable amount of time.
Yeah.
Are there more people that have potentially maybe have felt things a little bit more the next day than they otherwise would have in the past? Is it a tire issue? Is it a car issue? Is it both? Are the driver, listen, I know Kevin Harvick isn't the odds-on fan favorite like Chase Elliott is from a fan likability perspective. I get that. I get the same about Denny Hamlin. But being objective, and I really do try to be as objective as I possibly can. And if I'm not going to be objective, I'll call it out just because of that.
Well, you have the ability to put on your media hat and say, this isn't okay. Here's my opinion. I'm a number 4 fan. I'm going to support him. But from a media perspective, you're coming over here and saying, hey, look, even if I didn't like him, he's right.
Yes. Well, and it's not even so much of a matter of, is he right or is he wrong? But I think a 20-season vet, champion, and on the top 10 all-time win list, I think I'd want his opinion, and I think I trust his credibility, and I think I trust it and want to trust it for the future of the sport. That's the position that I would take on that. The same with Kyle Busch. The same with anybody that is, that has the stat sheet, the box score that the Kevin Harvick's, Denny Hamlin's, Kyle Busch's. Ignore personality and characteristics at this point. Just if you look at the box score, you've never been a NASCAR fan a day in your life, but you look at the box score and go, just like us with fishing. I don't know shit about fishing, but you could look at that and go, you know what? I don't know shit about racing, but odds are I could probably trust what this person says about a feature of something. And to me, I think you're forced to have to acknowledge that.
Well, but it seems like and I want to see where this conversation goes, but it seems like you're going down the path where, and maybe I've missed this, are people saying he is not credible that we shouldn't listen to him?
Well, so that's twofold to me here, because one, it's been going on a minute here to where noticeable changes haven't taken place. Now, I know Andy Petrie came out and was like, hey, NASCAR's aware, but nothing from a noticeable change hasn't been made. And hey, we're just going to keep our fingers crossed and hope nothing serious happens so we can just get through this season. And on the flip side, and this is the uncredible side of things, you look at some of the responses that some of these driver comments have made, and from a social media perspective, and you've got your, hey, yes, you're right because I'm a fan, or no, you're just being a whiny little crab ass because I'm not a fan of you. And that's what's hard to kind of see when it's like, well, can we look at this from an objective perspective? And I think you have to apply credibility to what they're saying.
Right. And this is something you and we've talked about before, Brian. I think probably Brian's been on and talked to you about this before. People like that are just who are on the negative side saying, stop being a whiny little bitch. Just drive, because look how much money you get. You know what the hazards are. You know what the dangers are. Well, the dangers shouldn't be more in 2022 than they were in 2021.
Right. If it should be less every year, yes. It should be the most incremental upward trend that there is driver safety. Driver safety should never regress. It should always progress.
Exactly. So these are people, honestly, the people who, and I'm telling you what you know, but I'm still going to say it.
Yes.
The people who matter are going to be the people who are informed and have a say in things. So you and I can sit here and have this conversation.
Yes.
Is anybody from NASCAR going to hear it? Probably not.
No.
If even if they hear it, do they care?
No.
But we're here for entertainment's sake.
It's fun to talk about. That's for sure.
But it's what we're here for entertainment's sake. But so I hate to call her out. One of my meteorologists posted something last week. It was a credible article, and somebody named Troll King. Oh, wow. Well, let's see where this is going.
Where were they? What was their point of view?
Yeah, so pretty much calls her out, saying you must not be experienced in this field because I've seen X.
Oh wow, okay.
And she actually, I happened to talk to her later that day, and I'm like, and we were talking about something else. I'm finally, hey, look, I saw that comment. Don't let it bug you. Put it out of your head. And I'll tell you what, Moody has told. I think he's actually said it on the air, but he and we've actually talked about it too. If somebody has less than 100 followers, don't generally take their opinion to heart.
No.
And when their name is Troll King,
I mean, they're
I would say just put that aside.
Yeah. File that in the don't give a shit bucket. Oh man, I love it. All right. I mean, we're going to the Roval. We'll get to the forecast here in just a minute.
Oh, you're not going to forget it this time. Good.
Right? Yeah. No, I won't forget. But here's the thing. I mean, this race is set up to be just an absolute must-see TV race. I mean, here's one thing. We don't know if Alex Bowman will be racing yet or not. Okay. Right. Alex Bowman is the only driver in the 4 appearances to have 4 top 10s at the Roval. Okay. So you can't count him out if he's there. You got Christopher Bell, who's got an incredible road racing resume behind him. You've got William Byron, who I think he's one of those that could go out and quietly win at any race. And you've got Austin Cindric, who also has a shit ton of road course wins behind him. Okay. And you look at your top 8 right now. Chase Briscoe is currently into the next round. Like, who would have thought if you would have had to pick an SHR car to get to the round of 8? My guess would be it wouldn't have been Chase Briscoe. Okay. You've got Daniel Suarez, who could go out and pick up a win. And then anybody in the top 6 could go and win at the Roval, I feel like. So there is the potential to have some shakeup here as we get to the conclusion of this round and see who makes it to the round of 8. And then you look at the last set of race. You got Martinsville, you got Homestead, Miami, which I absolutely love the fact that they put Homestead, our previous championship race, into the round of 8. I mean,
Doesn't it seem like a hot minute since we've raced at Homestead? It just seems like absolutely forever.
It does. I think that with COVID and how that 2020 got jacked up, if you will.
And then wasn't it an early race in 21?
Yes.
They had shuffled some stuff around because that's right. Because the Auto Club canceled and then they shuffled around Homestead.
Yeah. I think it was like the 3rd race of 2021. So it's almost been a full season since we've been there. It feels like. So yeah, no, I'm amped up. I mean, it's going to be exciting to watch, and I'm excited for the drama. And I mean, we're already looking ahead to next year. There's going to be some silly season movement coming about in all 3 series, which is awesome. There's going to be some changes to the Lap Traffic Fantasy League, which we'll get to that here in just a little bit. But
I wouldn't know.
What do you say, sir? Let's do a little social media here. Everybody, make sure you check out the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, Facebook Lap Traffic Podcast, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, all at Lap Traffic PC. Yes,
wait,
we're making.
You're on Twitch?
Well, there's a Twitch account. I haven't done anything.
Oh,
with
okay,
it,
okay. Didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, no, you're good. No, that's why you're here. But we are making TikToks. We are doing that and having some fun there, which is awesome.
You're gonna make me activate my account now.
So most of it, I do some actual videos of myself. I do some picture collages and things of that nature. Like I'll record a drop for the show for tonight's show. But it's fun. I tell you what, I feel like I could grow an audience on TikTok. Here's the thing, like I've only got I'll be honest, there's only like 50 followers. But I get anywhere between 600 and 800 views a video. So you don't get the attrition of like a click, but I mean, it's getting out there. So, I mean, I'll take
that's
that.
Good.
I'll take that, So I feel like I could grow it. I just don't have the time to go and spend like a half an hour, like, putting a video together. But,
and you and I talked about the same thing before we started recording. And for my sports management side, EC Sports Management, we have 8 drivers, 8 soccer players. So we have 16 athletes, 2 coaches, 2 teams, and an online racing platform. How in the world do we have 426 Twitter followers and fewer everywhere else except for LinkedIn? What are we doing wrong? And it's that. What are we missing in the videos? What are we missing in TikToks, Instagram Reels, whatever they're called on Facebook these days?
Yep.
Stories, I think.
Yep.
But yeah, you've nailed it, and we're going to have to follow behind you and say, hey, that we need to be doing this. And it's been a project for everybody on my staff, and the videos have been coming back in targeted advertising. So we're going to be growing just like you, and we're going to be learning from you.
Yep. Well, I tell you what, and Twitter, obviously the bread and butter with over, 6,000 followers, closing in on 7,000, which is a tribute to
giveaways.
Yes, giveaways, and at Atlanta Racing and at the Throwback brand, who have we've partnered up with there, which is awesome. Just partnered up with a iRacing team, which is awesome. Sent them some stuff,
Very
which
cool.
is cool. They're going to be running what I love. This is where they got me to buy in is their iRacing series this year is the truck series. So, I mean, come on. How am I not going to buy into the truck series?
I'm surprised they didn't get you to be title sponsor of the series.
I am title sponsor of the series.
Of the whole, I thought you were sponsoring a car. You're title sponsoring the whole series?
I'm title sponsoring the whole series.
That's so freaking cool.
Yes, it's the Lap Traffic Podcast iRacing series. And the winner, I think first and second place are getting Lap Traffic trophies. So we're
a show appearance.
And a show appearance.
Very good.
Yeah, no, we are the title sponsor for that, which is really cool. I'm excited about that.
It's very cool.
The iRacing series creator, Bobby, he's going to be on once they are close to kicking off. So he'll be part of the, episode 300 countdown. And I've got hats. I think we should probably give a hat away this week. So we'll give a hat away. Again, if you want a hat, you just got to be the most diehard Lap Traffic Podcast fan because, there's the store, every once in a while we'll sell a t-shirt here or there. But I mean, I feel like these trucker hats are badass. And I had to pre-order these. The t-shirts are on demand printing, so that's no big deal. But so if these hats sell out, we'll order more and we'll make it a thing. You want a hat, reach out to me and I will get you a hat. Let's see what else we got. We got some new follower shout outs. NASCAR history page at NASCAR_by13. I mean, I think that speaks for itself, what you're going to find there from a content perspective, which is awesome. David Cohen at DCohen22. Chase Elliott, Noah Gregson fan. You've been pretty happy the last couple weeks, I would say. Casey at KPC for the win, NASCAR fan from Louisiana. Clint Burnett at SM Burnett 72, Larson and Bowman fan. Brian Dawson at BRY Dawes, a theme park enthusiast. I love that. I need you, if you've listened an hour and almost 7 minutes into the show, if you are listening and have been to Cedar Point, please let me know what you think about that because if you're a theme park enthusiast, I will imagine you've been there and I'm curious your thoughts. Stickers, koozies, got those for free. Fill out the contact page on the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com. I will send them out to you. And I guess we'll play the weather intro just to introduce the segments, even though you've been on for the last hour and 7 minutes.
You're welcome. I'm going to date myself real quick here. I've been to Boblo.
Boblo Island, no shit.
Yeah, I went there in 1984 when I first moved to Michigan. It was like an off weekend from two-a-days. And just a friend of mine I met at orientation. We're still friends today. She's like, hey, my family and I are going to Boblo. You want to come with us? Sure.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's been closed for a hot minute. But
that's been closed for decades.
Yes.
Although you can still buy the shirts.
You can still buy the shirt. I tell you what, there are some places that have some very cool vintage Michigan shirts. You can get the Boblo Island. You can get the Farmer Jack logo. You can get the A&P store logo. Are
you saying Farmer Jack? Is Farmer Jack gone?
Oh, dude, Farmer Jack's been gone maybe as long as Boblo Island's been gone.
No. There were Farmer Jacks when I lived there last. But that's been a long time. But go on.
Yes. No, take it away. It's your time to shine, sir.
Oh, wait a minute. There's a little indication of how you think the first hour and 9 minutes went.
I love it.
We are going to Concord, North Carolina, and guess what? No hurricane. Yay!
That's
no
awesome.
Hurricanes. Yeah, that's how the forecast started last week too. We're not sure what's going on with Ian, if it was going to go up straight into like the Panhandle or kind of cut right into. Oh man, that was brutal. And the highest wind gusts I saw were from not along the coast, was at Sebring, both the airstrip and the racetrack got absolutely freaking pounded. Mm-hmm. And Lake Lloyd did flood over. A lot of those pictures were fake. There were some real ones out there about how bad Daytona did, how not terrible like some of the fake photos, but some of the ones where it was like a drone view down. Lake Lloyd had flooded, so a lot of the back straight, and up into the middle section. But honestly, we are not going to be talking about rain this weekend. Friday, sunny, high of 80, morning low of 50, and then the cold front pushes through. 48 on Saturday morning, partly cloudy skies, high of 67. Sunday, bring a jacket. It will be 40 in the morning.
Wow.
Light winds, high of 68.
That's how it was this
Sunny
morning when
skies.
Brad and I played golf. It was a fall Sunday morning in Michigan. That's for sure.
Yeah, I saw you guys, at least in Ann Arbor, had frost advisories.
Yes.
I wake up this morning, look at my weather app, and I hear the wind outside. I'm like, okay, it's October. Oh, okay, it's fall. Why am I talking about wind chill already?
Yeah. Oh, man. I tell you what, this weekend, if you could, I'm all for winter from Thanksgiving through New Year's Day. You throw whatever winter element you want at me, fine. But if from October 1st through Thanksgiving, I can comfortably walk around in jeans and a hoodie, there's nothing better than jeans and hoodie weather to where you're sitting outside and it's just brisk enough to where it's like, am I cold? Am I not cold? No, we get that for like 2 days, and that was this past week.
Yeah, it was a quick switch off. Was going to say, real great Michigan memory, and I hope you guys keep making these. When you said you went to the cider mill,
yes,
absolutely love that. That is quintessential. I'll use the tagline, pure Michigan.
That is, yes, Tim Allen would have been proud with that one.
Yes, that is so true.
That's for sure.
Is so true.
Yes. All right, sir, it is time for this week's Lucky Dog and Lap Down picks. We've been slacking a little bit because, well, not we. I've been slacking because there hasn't been a show, but we've got some picks this week. Sir, what are your takeaways? What's your lucky dog of the race weekend?
AJ Allmendinger, to really, I hate to say come from nowhere because he was a top 10 car all weekend, but to get that such a solid push from Landon, and then kudos to Landon and both on track and all three of them together. So it goes Caller Racing. Honestly, the fans were winners this weekend as well.
Absolutely. Lap down.
NASCAR safety concerns continued. Yep. It's not getting better.
No, I'm with you. My lucky dog is Jordan Anderson for obvious reasons.
Yes.
My lap down. I'll mirror you as well there, sir. All right. Let's get to some tweeted responses. Scott at 1995 Wagner, lucky dog, Chase Elliott for the lock-in. Lap down, Ty Gibbs, Karma Kane twice for last week. Luckiest dog of the year, Jordan Anderson, risking one danger for another. Continued prayers for Jordan. Brian at Stormin B81, lucky dog, Chase Elliott for a great run. Lap down, old Recky being Recky. I love that one. That's a good one.
Of that one,
yes.
Okay, that was kind of a racing thing, but it was awful that he threw Harrison Burton under the bus on that one. That was probably the worst one on that.
Yep, nope, I'm with you there. Chris at USMC _ NASCAR Fire, lucky dog, Chase with the right move at the right time. Lap down, this package sucks, as well as the Lions. I forgot to add the Lions to my lap down, so
I would, but I give him a half lap down because you only stayed for the first half.
That's true. Let's see. Jason at JA Stone 29, lucky dog, was the 9. I'll admit it. He got the right push, right time. Lap down was the 4 and the 6. Tell me the last time either got a speeding penalty with two of the strongest cars all day long. I'd love to see the data for the entire race. I'll tell you what. Talladega is like the hardest place to get a speeding penalty because it's got like the widest pit road along with the largest variance to speed at, like, because I think it's 55 there. Like that's
60.
Okay. So you can go to 64.99 and still be fine. Like, that's
and despite all those factors, how many people just screwed up on pit road this weekend?
Oh my God. Yeah. We didn't even talk about that. Who was the guy that, was it, what team was it that they ran across the pit lane to go get the tire?
It's like, boy, they didn't, I'm not sure how much time they should have spent on it, but I feel like it should have been more time than they did.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you're going to, that guy, I mean, to cut across, to go into the infield, to chase down a tie, you've already got the penalty. Let it sit there. Who gives a shit at that point? Like, I don't understand that one. Jess at Iowa NASCAR fan, Lucky Dog, the 3 pretty clean races at Talladega. Even the truck race was clean by truck standards. Lap down, C-Bell overcooked it on pit entry, puts him in a must win. And Matt at Camper News Net, Lucky Dog, Chase Elliott with the move on the restart that won him the race and advancing. Lap down, Jordan Anderson hoping for a speedy recovery after the fire during the truck race. All right. I'm sure we'll pick those up as we move along. Sir, it's time to close this thing out with a little lap traffic fantasy. Even though you're not in it, we'll get your picks here. But let's see here. Just a reminder, keep the Twitter interaction up using hashtag LTFantasy. Let's see. We got 5 races to determine it all. My picks this past week, John Hunter, Ty Gibbs, Denny Hamlin. I played it as safe as I could, and I did okay. We're still in it for the moment, but quick rundown here. In first place with 219, Henry Fletcher. Second place, 217, Josh Rolfe. Third place, 215, Kristen Hoagland. Fourth place, David James with 210. Followed behind him, his mom, Kim James, in fifth with 199. Yours truly is sitting in 6th with 198. Justin Hughes, 7, 196. Steven, 8, 188. Michael, Blind Spot Pod, 9th, 185. Brett Morris, 10th, 178. Robert Riggs, 11th, 156. Kevin Hahn, 145. It is close. There is nobody locked into the next round. We'll see how things all settle out here after the Roval. Bonus points haven't changed too much. We got Kristen, Henry Fletcher, David James, Justin Hughes, Brett Morris, Kim James, Josh Rolfe, Brandon Crowd, Robert Riggs, Michael Blindspot, Steven and Kevin Hahn. Sir, you had an early out this year, unfortunately.
I know. No, and it's amazing how quickly I fell from like second to out.
Yes.
And I honestly, if I ever have the time, and I might actually make the time for this, I would love to see how many DNFs I had in my picks.
Oh, wow.
So it was just stuff that was out of my control. It wasn't like, I picked somebody who was bad. It was, I think of it would have been probably like 9 picks during that time period, maybe like 8. I think I had at least more than half DNF'd. And I'm just like, you get to a point, it's like, what? It just, I want to write them and apologize.
Yeah, right.
I picked you. That's why you DNF'd.
I mean, I can send you a spreadsheet that's got your picks if you want. So
sure, please do that.
You tell me how much time you've got.
You know what? That's gonna be easier because if you send me the picks, it's
absolutely. I'm happy to send that to you. Not a problem. So
and I'll be sure to share that after.
Yes. You ready to make some picks?
I am ready to make some picks.
All right, we are headed to our final road course, the Roval, for the season. Larson Elliott have dominated the road courses and the Charlotte Roval. Do you have any of those picks available if you're still in the playoffs? Alex Bowman finished top 10 at every race. He might be a safe backup pick if he's racing. Ryan Blaney might also be a spoiler pick, if you will. Who will punch their way to the round of 8 in the playoffs and Lap Traffic Fantasy? We'll find out this weekend. But first, it's time for our picks. All right, sir. If you were in the playoffs still, who would your pick be in the Xfinity Series?
And had all my picks left?
Yes, and had all your picks left.
AJ. I don't know how you don't pick him. The only if I would say here, I'd still say AJ and hit the send button. But, man, Gregson's got to be just itching. Well, that's itching to get back to victory lane.
That's the thing. I've wanted to take Gregson so many times, but I'm like, oh, he won this week. I'm not going to do it. Oh, shit, he won again this week. I'm not going to do it. And I got burned. So, and now here's where I will get burned because it just makes too much sense to take AJ. So I'm going with AJ as well, and we'll see what happens. All right.
Yes, we will.
The Cup. Who do you got?
Larson.
Okay, I would have taken Larson, but I've used him already. So I'm going with both winners who won this past weekend at Talladega. So I'm going with Chase Elliott. So
that's
we'll
a
see.
solid number 2 pick. I hate to say it's not a number 2 pick.
No.
I was actually kind of going for the not obvious. So do you think this is a track where one of the not final 12 has a chance of winning?
I do, but I also think the final 12 will get me enough points to where hopefully it won't matter. So
I was more going from a chit-chat standpoint than a fantasy standpoint.
Yes. No, yeah, absolutely. I think there is the potential for there to be a spoiler this week. I mean, look at it this way. Martin Truex Jr. can win at any road course, still doesn't have a win this year. So, I would put McDowell out there too with the right pit strategy. Absolutely. I mean, hell, he almost got it done yesterday.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Yeah, no, absolutely. All right. Lap Traffic Nation, that is going to do it for episode 293. Make sure you check out our website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, Facebook Lap Traffic Podcast, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, all at Lap Traffic PC. Sir, it was great to have you on. This was fun. Glad we were able to make this work, sir.
Yeah,
And,
relatively short notice, and definitely, honestly, I always have a blast on the show, but when we can talk for more than an hour and cover as much as we did, it's absolutely phenomenal. It is podcast gold.
I love it.
Hashtag podcast gold.
I'm going to use that. That's going to be on the tweet. Podcast gold. I love it. Don't get caught chasing the lucky dog. Tune in each and every week to the Lap Traffic Podcast. See ya.